in your questions, anything having to do with home loans, mortgages, buying a home, real estate, investment properties, you name it, you can text it in, or just tell us what you're doing out there. Some folks, you got a question, you got something you need to know.
Sure.
You can ask.
There are questions.
Go ahead. What do we got over there?
I have a person who says, I had an appraisal done on a manufactured home refi for a VA loan application. I didn't qualify for the VA. Can I use that appraisal for my FHA application? And if so, what's the process to transfer it?
Unfortunately,
regrettably, no.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're two different entities. It's a VA. The VA is done. It goes through the VA portal, and it's assigned to a VA appraiser, and that appraisal can be used for up to 4 months. So if you do, if something changes, your credit score goes up, or whatever was hindering you, gets cured, then you can still use that same appraisal for 160 days, and they can even extend that in some cases. FHA is a different entity though, so unfortunately you'd have to get an appraisal through FHA. You want to make sure you're going to qualify for that loan beforehand. And this is the type of situation I can help you with. You can hit me up at homeloansradio.com. We can put your file together, and I can look at it and make sure that whatever caused you problems with the VA, first of all, I want to make sure that maybe we can't overcome it, because there's even though it's a VA loan, there's different banks have different overlays. So some banks will have lower debt ratios that they allow on VA or FHA than what we do. We allow the max whatever VA says, and some banks don't. They whittle that down.
Take it to the max.
They might only allow a 43% debt ratio, whereas VA loans can get approved up to 60% in some cases.
So by overlay, you mean things that the bank has instituted in addition to the requirements of the VA.
Yeah, like VA and FHA have their guidelines. They like the set guidelines that everybody has, but some banks are a little tighter. They, credit unions or what have you, they may want to not go to the full limits that FHA truly allows. So sometimes we might be able to get a loan approved at VA or FHA, even though it got turned down somewhere else. But my point being, I can look at that and figure out if we can get you done as an FHA before you spend the money for the appraisal. So I'm happy to help you with that. You can hit me up at homeloansradio.com. There's a box there that says Ask Don. You just put your questions in there, and we'll get you some answers, see what we can do.
So the person that texted in about the PMI, how do I get rid of it, texted back to say it's a conventional loan and the mortgage is 214, and it's probably worth 289.
So you're right there.
You're on their way.
Yeah, you're pretty close to right there. The other thing you can do, if you're short a little bit, if you're coming up short, let's say you're like at 81% or 83%, you can still get the PMI either drastically reduced, or you can bring a little money to the table to lower your loan amount some. So you might be in a place where you're real close, but you can bring $2,000 to the closing table and lower your loan by a couple thousand and maybe squeak in there. And there's also something you can do if you only have if you're off by just a little percentage, 80 to 85%, you can do something that's called a one-time PMI. So when you refinance to get your rate down below, down to 3% or lower, you can do maybe an $800 payment or something to kind of prepay that PMI and get it off of there, so you don't have to worry about it down the road.
Here's someone that says, good morning. If I'm looking to sell my house within the next 3 years, is it worth me refinancing now?
You're kind of on the bubble, you're kind of on the cusp. It depends on how much you're going to save. If you're paying, basically what we look at is how quickly do you recoup your closing costs? And closing costs are going to run about 2% of the loan amount. So you got a $200,000 loan. And so roughly 4%, $4,000 on your closing costs. You got to see how quickly you'll get that back. So if you're saving $500 a month, well, yeah, you're going to get your money back in 8 months. If you're only saving $100 a month, well, then that's going to take 40 months. So really, it just comes down to a math problem. If you are going to do that or not, just depends on how quickly you recoup the closing costs. But probably 3 years. Most loans I'm seeing lately have been maybe 12 to 24 months is the recoupment period, and then you're saving money from then on.
Awesome. And also, these rates are not going to last. So
yeah, and that's another thing to consider. But yeah, for sure, rates are definitely low. If you've got a rate with a 4 or 5 in front of it and you haven't refinanced, which according to the bankrate.com survey, 74% of the people out there still haven't refinanced and have a rate with a 4 or a 5% number.
Wow.
Which is just crazy to me. You must have just oodles of extra cash and just love your bank. You're like, oh, I love Wells Fargo. I'm going to give them a bonus every month.
What if they're CEOs of Wells Fargo, and they're like, that's fine. It's all good, fam.
I'm guessing that the CEO of Wells doesn't need a mortgage, but if he does, they just give it to him at 0% or -1%. They'd give him money back,
right,
in interest. I just say Wells. I'm just throwing that out. It could be Chase, could be SunTrust, could be PennyMac, whatever bank you have. If you've got a rate with a 4 or 5 and you're keeping it, and you're just happy with it. Well, then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's someone that says, I love your show. Do MJ and Fritz do other shows? And I will speak for myself. I reserve all of this magic for the show here. I spend the whole week working on it, and then I come in here, and this is where I am. But Fritz, you do other stuff.
Yeah, you can hear Fritz on the News Junkie. What's the show, Fritz?
It's the News Junkie. And
I know. I know the answer. Okay, I just wanted you to be able to say it.
The bit is Fritz on the Street, and if you have the iHeartRadio app, you can just search Fritz on the Street, FRITZ, and also Fort Fritz. That's a podcast that I had for a number of years with my good buddies, and that's it takes place in a haunted house, so it's audio design, audio theater of the mind kind of thing. But we're probably going to discontinue that just because, the pandemic and people are doing other things. And it takes a long time to produce those.
So the answer is yes, you can hear Fritz on Wednesdays.
Yeah, Wednesday at 1 p.m. on the News Junkie.
On the News Junkie.
Or,
That's
the iHeartRadio app.
Sure.
Thanks for texting your questions and comments in to 77031. You can join the conversation with us. And,
anytime.
Anybody got any mortgage questions over there?
Yes.
By the way, I love when people text in "Good morning" and then they, then they have their question. A lot of people just kind of ram jam those questions in there. So everyone who says "Good morning," good on you.
Well, that's nice. I agree. I like the salutations. And then some are just right to the point. Like currently 120,000 at 4.6, 12 years remaining. I'd like to refinance at a 10-year term, or should I just pay extra $5,000 a year on principal? We get this question regularly.
How much was remaining?
They have 12 years remaining. Their rate is 4.6 and they owe 120.
I would probably look at taking that down to a 10-year because the 10-year rates and the 15-year rates are just phenomenal. You're talking about the low too. So they're at 4.6.
Yeah.
They could get over, if they have good credit and well qualified, you could get over 2 points lower, close to 2.25, around there lower. That's going to be a tremendous savings. And then you can just take that savings that you're making and put it towards principal. Plus any other money. You could probably wrap that mortgage up in 5 or 6 years if you refinanced it and just applied the savings that you're going to make to it. You probably save, I would estimate, close to $250 a month on that. So, why put your money towards the paying extra? Use the savings from the interest and pay that towards the extra.
That's awesome. And also somebody else said Fritz on the Street is awesome.
It is.
Thank you.
One of my favorite shows. And I know every time I know all the answers.
Oh, really?
No.
The questions are all over the place.
Yeah. Tell me exactly where you find those questions, Fritz.
Well, I just read the news a lot. And then the trivia, like the general knowledge trivia questions, I'll usually go to trivia aggregate websites, or if it's just something that I'm thinking of. Like, for instance, last week in Peter Pan, what is Wendy's last name?
Oh, Wendy doesn't have a last name?
Yeah, she does.
Oh, yeah, she does.
Wendy.
Because it's the family.
Yeah.
You want me to tell you?
Yeah, tell us, please.
Wendy Darling.
Of course, the Darlings.
So 3 out of 8 people got that right. So they have to then guess how many out of 8 people got it right. And so that was, I was just watching Peter Pan and they said Wendy Darling, but there was no comma. It was Wendy, capital D, Darling. I was like, oh my God, that's her last name? I had no idea. So sometimes I'll just, be living my life, doing my thing, and questions will come up.
I was hoping
inspiration sparks.
I was hoping you were just going to tell me the website so I could go and see the questions ahead of time. But,
well, it's trivia.fyi.
Here's a question. Good morning.
Good morning.
Salutations to you. My question is, my home was built brand new in 2015. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. However, taking a closer look now to public records, it shows as a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. How do I fix that? I'm sure that lowers the actual appraised value of the house.
Yeah, that would affect the appraised value of your house if that, as long as the appraiser also looks at it. And so the appraiser doesn't necessarily have to go by that. If they see with their eyes that there's 4 bedrooms, then they can, they can make it.
I don't know. This piece of paper says 3.
But it may be a situation where a room was added, and the work wasn't permitted.
It was brand new.
It was brand new.
In
So
2015.
I would, you could go to the county assessor and get that changed, but then, it's possible they could reassess your property. So
it might also give you a benefit tax wise.
Well, if they reassess it, it's probably the value is probably going to go up.
But it's brand new. Yeah. Because they're going to,
that's a great question. You can talk to the county about getting that corrected. In places like Zillow or other sites like that, you can actually go in as the homeowner and make corrections yourself. But great question. You're listening to the Home Loans Radio Show. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Ryan from the Monsters. Do you have a question for that mortgage guy, Don? Text him at 77031. Now back to Home Loans Radio on Real Radio.
All right, everybody, put your hands together.
Woo!
Home Loans Radio on Real Radio. I am Fritz, joined as always by MJ and that mortgage guy, Don. If you have a question, 77031. Text it in 77031. Or if you want to leave us a shout out, that's what the kids call it, homeloansradio.com. There's a little button that says leave Don a shout out. Hello.
Welcome back to the show. Yes, you can also go to homeloansradio.com, do all kinds of other things. You want to, you've been hearing us talking. You're like, darn it, I'm doing it. I'm going to find out what kind of payment I could get, how much lower my rate could be. How do I do it? Well, you go to homeloansradio.com. You click the apply now button. That's it. We send you a quote. And then, if you like it, you can decide to move forward. We'll tell you the next steps. If you hate it, you got to crumple it up and throw it in the metaphorical trash because it's an email that we're sending you. But welcome back to the show. You can text in your questions, comments. Just want to tell us what you're doing. Say hi, whatever. That's cool.
Oh, yeah. We really like to know what you're doing.
Especially MJ. She's super nosy.
I am. I like to hear. I like to think about it. I think about it all the time. Whenever I see sunflowers, I think about that person who goes out and harvests sunflowers.
Right.
On Saturdays. Now, whenever I see them in the store, I think, oh, someone had to go get those.
Yeah, did they have like 50,000 sunflowers or something?
I can't remember. There are acres and acres of them, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a heart. Text MJ at 77031. Make your dreams come true.
It's literally all she asks.
This is the only show she's on. She saves all her energy for this show. Welcome back to Home Loans Radio. What are we talking about? Well, rates are at record lows. Mortgage news flash. Rates are at record lows. You can get
extra. Read all about it.
Yeah, get
Edward G. Robinson here.
Get on your getaway sticks and go over to your computer and apply
get on
now.
your bikes, eh? Yeah. Right. All
right, we're losing it. Rates are low. I mentioned, it's a great time to refinance. Great time to purchase. You can get the best qualified people can get rates down in the 2s. 2.875 or 15-year loans down in the low 2s. If you haven't taken advantage of this, I don't know why, but if you haven't, it's okay. You still can. Now's the time. Do it before the rates go up, and basically, there's a guarantee they're going to go up as the Fed makes its changes and tapers off on the mortgage-backed securities that they've been buying due to COVID, and tapers off on the 10-year Treasury bonds. They've been buying like billions and billions of dollars per week. Not in the last year. We're talking 40 billion, 50 billion in a given week sometimes, where they're buying these, and that's kind of what's keeping the rates low right now. Pretty much directly is keeping the rates low right now. Take advantage of it. It's not going to last forever, I assure you.
People from the last 2 questions have hit us back. One says, thank you so much. I will follow the advice. And another says, thank you for the information. Your show is so helpful.
Glad
That's so nice.
Glad to do it. Every single weekend morning, we're here answering your questions as you text them in to the Home Loans Radio Show. Let's answer a few, MJ.
I'm in the process of doing a refi right now, and the lender is requiring me to pay a full year of taxes and a full year of insurance at closing. My insurance renews in October. For both, this is over $4,500. Why is this? Can I avoid it?
Yeah, it's a timing issue. Now they're going to require it. First of all, what they're talking about is their escrows for your taxes and insurance.
I see.
So when you pay your mortgage payment, you pay principal and interest, but you also pay 1/12 of your taxes
for the year
and 1/12 of your insurance because every year in November in Florida, 1st of November, your property taxes are due, and that can be $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, depending on your house. And then your homeowner's insurance renews once a year, and that's going to be on the anniversary of whenever you bought your house. So if you happen to have also bought your house in October or November, then that 12 months worth or that full year's premium of the insurance is going to be due. So that could be $1,000 or $2,000, $3,000. So what you do to avoid having those big lump sums, most people do, the majority of people do, is that you escrow, meaning you pay part of 1/12 of your taxes and insurance with every mortgage payment. That way that money just gets socked away throughout